Only your essence can create. Only your essence can magnetize. So that means you will require your life force to actualize anything into being in this reality. And most of humanity has around 2% on a good day of access to their life force. So if this whole manifestation shit hasn't been working out for you, it's because you've never looked at this from this angle. We're gonna change that today, because to cultivate life force and have more access to your life force energy is not 3 steps how to do that. It requires a system. It requires a self-observation system, which is what I call internal intelligence. So there is a masterclass at the end of this video. Manifestation is the ability to actualize and perform miracles by being the bridge between the causal world and the physical world. That is the lifeblood of our reality. So what could be possibly more important for humanity right now than understanding how to be this bridge? Yeah, I thought so. Nothing, right? So that's why we're here with another manifestation class. And let's start off with, what is it that 99% of people don't know about manifestation? And yes, I totally made that number up, of course. I don't know how many people don't know, but I've never heard it. So people don't know that only your essence can create. Only your essence can manifest, which means only your life force can actualize anything into being. Without access to your life force, you cannot be the bridge for actualizations. And the truth is that at this point, humanity has around 2% of life force access on a good day. So without that life force access, you can't magnetize, you can't create, you can't manifest, you can't actualize, regardless of how many cutesy tools you received, of how many times you chant the same affirmation over and over and over again. If you do not have life force access, none of that is possible. So now does it make sense why everything in your environment is attempting to get a bit of your life force? Does it now make sense why certain religious institutions want you to give your power away, because that allows them direct access to your life force so they can bring through and actualize whatever their agenda is, which is happening with every institution that doesn't have your best interest in mind. How do you know if something has your best interest in mind? They want to give all of your power back to you. They want to remind you of how sovereign you are. They want to remind you that you are a God walking, just like it was written in the Bible. The awareness of manifestation itself is the first stage of spiritual awakening. Maybe you remember a time where it seemed like the veil was really thin and you were able to almost materialize things in quantum speed. A lot of us experience this phase, and a lot of us are not aware that this is a phase. So a lot of us experience this first wave of spiritual awakening, and then people go on and teach it like that's just how it's working, when that's not the truth. So a lot of these so-called tools work in the beginning stage of that first awakening, because when you first penetrate the veil, there is a lot of life force energy set free. It's because you've accumulated a lot of life force to even be able to penetrate that first veil. So let's get into this, and I want to give you a personal example. Before 2018, I lived in Germany, born and raised in a small town in Germany. I didn't know that a spiritual dimension existed. I had no spiritual connection. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in oneness. I didn't even have the vocabulary for that. Manifestation wasn't a thing. I didn't know that the outer reality mirrors our internal reality, nothing whatsoever. I was simply focused on finishing my bachelor degree because I just didn't know what I wanted to do with life. And I'm like, I gotta just finish that one thing. So I was working 2 jobs, I was in college, and my life force was constantly drained. I had this very addictive relationship where it was either like total highs or completely lows, and I wasn't seeing at that time how much that drained my life force. Like, I was literally merely just existing. I was in what a lot of people would call depression, when how I see it is I didn't have life force flowing through me. Like, I was constantly drained to a point where I was just completely numb. I couldn't feel anything anymore because my life force was gone. And then all of a sudden, miracles happened, which is a story for another video, but I moved to LA. And right before I moved to LA, I cut off this person. I can love him to the core. He was he was a very important player in this whole storyline, but we just were extremely toxic and terrible for each other. But I cut him off. I had the worst acne breakout of my life right before LA, and that was my sign to just go inward, and I started to clear up my diet like never before. So I went on a vegan, completely alkaline diet, mostly raw. I didn't even drink juices. I just meshed up like celery stalks in a blender, so I had a lot of fiber. Like, I really cleaned up my gut because I had constant yeast infections. Like, my body was just crying out loud. So I went all in on my diet. I then moved to LA, which all of a sudden my life was totally different. Where before my life force went into working 2 jobs, entertaining this toxic relationship, having all of my friends around and not seeing how draining that was for me, and all of the people that I tried to please and all of that shit, upholding my image and everything. I went into this totally new landscape, and I went monk mode without realizing it. I lived right in West Hollywood, and so I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning almost every day to do my morning hike at Runyon Canyon, and I got my me time in the morning. I then went to work, but I just had to upload things onto Amazon so I could listen to a lot of positive podcasts and psychology podcasts. I would drink like my juices, my green stuff, my salads. I would then go home, work out, and meal prep and go to bed. And I did this for at least 6 months straight. No distractions, no life force suckers, like nothing like that. And so I built up this accumulation of life force, which was needed to penetrate the next dimension, to penetrate the next veil. And I didn't know what I was doing. It's just life put me into these circumstances, and I knew I had to like fix myself somehow. I had to get back to my heart. I had to get back to myself, because before that I was completely devastated. So I just used the tools that I had, which weren't spiritual tools. I didn't know about that. I was just using my tangible tools of work out, eat well, go out in nature. Now, once enough life force was accumulated, the first veil was penetrated. So all of a sudden, I could find myself in a totally different reality. I just had to think about something and it would happen. And all of a sudden, I had all of these miraculous happenings. Like, I would think about something, or I had a problem, and literally the same day, a person would appear with an offer that would solve all of these problems. And this just happened over and over and over again, to a point where I couldn't deny it was happening, to a point where it freaked me the fuck out. I felt like I was elevated. I felt like I was all of a sudden in a new reality. And even though I didn't believe in the existence of God, I wasn't into spiritual things, I couldn't deny that something in my reality was happening. Almost like this whole Neo thing, like I swallowed the red pill and I didn't know it. Now, all of these different variables helped me to do that. So all of these things combined with LA, because LA is a really powerful vortex that will amplify everything that is happening there. That's why Hollywood chose that place to project all of their creations from there and influence the whole world, because LA and the land holds immense power. So this was my initiation phase. And I needed my life force to penetrate that initial veil. In this initiatory phase, a lot of people can get a little bit disillusional. They believe that their manifestation tools are the reason why all of a sudden they just have to think about something and it's happening. When in actuality, it is the accumulated life force. The manifestation tools have nothing to do with that. It's just the easiest way for God to show you, hey, everything is one, everything is interrelated. Wake up, wake up. Your internal reality is not separate from your outside reality. Everything that is happening within is mirrored and reflected outside of you. And so once this first veil is penetrated, God, creation source, is doing everything it can to show you that. And the simplest way is to show it to you by your manifestation ability, by the actualization speed. All of a sudden, in quantum speed, your thoughts, your desires are actualizing. That is just a phase. It's an initiation phase. And that phase doesn't last unless you really know how to constantly bring more and more life force flow to you. But for a lot of us, it's like a wave. It happens, we experience the miracles of it, and then it dips a little bit. Now it dips because we're meant to evolve. Because we're not meant to stay in this superficial first layer. We're meant to understand how to constantly and consistently cultivate our life force to actually perform miracles on a daily basis. Because the more access you have to your life force, you transcend the laws of earth. So this means you can perform miracles. And for others, it will look like miracles. For someone who's aware, you know that with your access to life force, you transcended earth laws, and therefore less laws apply for you. But this is not something that is attainable with a 369 journal of, oh, let me just write out what I desire and here it goes. Nope. And if people tell you that they figured out manifestation, no, they haven't. It's when people tell you they figured out the YouTube algorithm, right? And it's like, well, you just got to put this in the title and this hashtag, and you got to post at this exact time, and you got to post these many videos a day, and then you got to put this in your thumbnail. And if you have all of this, then you'll go viral. Like, how many videos are there that's like, I figured out the algorithm? But have you really? Or did God, creation source, consciousness just decide it was time for you? Were all of these tools really the reason why you went viral and you blew up? Or did you just put in enough work and then that one video went viral? Now the algorithm could see what kind of people feel gravitated towards you. It saw a common denominator in the people, and now it's easier to share out your videos. Right? It's like you don't know about the cause and effect. People can assume, like you can assume that all of these things helped you to become viral. And now you tell people, I figured out the algorithm. But is that really true? You don't know. We have no means to prove cause and effect. And the same with manifestation. You can tell that, well, I did this, and then I have this 369 journal, and yes, I'm guilty. I have it too. My ego likes to do this sometimes. It's fun. It gives me a little bit of hope and joy, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something, and it helps me to gain clarity of where I think I'm going, okay? But if I told you now, hey, just get this 369 journal, just feel it, be it, okay, just decree and declare. Like, I could tell you all of these things, and I could say, this is how you manifest. It's an illusion. Just like people telling you they figured out the algorithm. If people tell you they figured out how to manifest, it is an illusion, because we have no way to prove cause and effect with manifestation. This is where parts get a little bit triggered around these manifestation babes and these manifestation baddies that tell you things like, oh, it's simple, just decree and declare, just say it's already healed, well, just manifest it. And they give you all these tools like, oh, it's just that easy. What? It doesn't work for you? It's easy. When in fact, it doesn't work for them either. Or it works for a very specific phase in their life. And the fact is, if a system isn't replicatable, you don't have a system. So therefore, you're not a teacher. You can talk about your own experiences, but then don't make it sound like it's a replicatable system that works for everyone when it does not. So, fact is, manifestation tools do not work, because let's face it, if they did, we've all lived in temple space and did our soul purpose work and just like have the life heaven on earth, okay? And most of us do not yet. And if something works 1 time out of 10, that doesn't mean it's working. It's not reliably working. I always say, if you have a freaking Vitamix, but 9 times out of 10 it shits the bed and it's not working, and every time you try to use it you have to pray that it's gonna freaking stir your smoothie, you wouldn't go and leave a review of, damn, that's the machine of the century, everyone get this machine. No, you would fucking complain and tell them, I want my money back, this is a shit machine and it's not working. So to make it seem like manifestation tools are working when they are not reliably working is illusionary. And I don't like the whole fact that some people make it sound so easy. They haven't gathered enough evidence. They don't know what phase they're in. So maybe they're currently in their initiatory phase, or they're riding that wave of their initiation where everything comes easy to them because they just first penetrated that veil. Problem that I have is that people who listen to that think that either something's wrong with them, maybe they're dumb, or the worst thing, they think they're just not favored by God. A lot of us are here for higher vibrational manifestation, which means it's more multidimensional in nature. So you don't have this physical object or this scenario in your head that you want to actualize. It's more natural. Your manifestations are a byproduct of your life force axis, and you know that, and that's the way manifestation works for you, because you realize that, first of all, I don't know what I want anyways. Anytime I thought I wanted something, oftentimes it wasn't actually the thing, but a lesson in it that was necessary for me. Or the moment that I got this thing, I realized that, oh, it was never about that. So a lot of us have released that force around manifestation. Everything around these manifestation tools or law of attraction are essentially just permission slips for your ego, because manifestation is a natural byproduct of your life force axis. So manifestation tools are oftentimes just a way for your linear mind to prepare you for what's going to occur anyways. And so your mind, your linear mind, doesn't want to lose control, which is okay, right? That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because we're navigating all of it at once. So your linear mind wants to be prepared for this big miracle. So your linear mind is writing down all of these things, feeling into this big miracle. And then when it happens, the linear mind is like, I did that. When no, the happening was a byproduct of your life force axis, aka your frequency. The more life force is embodied, the higher your frequency. So it's just a byproduct of that. And all of these manifestation tools just helped to prepare your linear mind for it, so your linear mind wouldn't freak out. And that's perfectly fine. So with all of that, I'm not shitting on any of these manifestation tools or the law of attraction or any of that. Manifestation in the mainstream is fairly new. Like, it's not even a century old. Yes, of course, it's ancient knowledge. So there are wisdom keepers that had the wisdom over manifestation for eons, but it has only penetrated the mainstream for around 100 years. This is when yoga came to the West. This is when occult knowledge became more accessible, and we had all of these secret orders that would exchange some of that knowledge. And then in the 80s, this is when it really became mainstream through people like Esther and Jerry Hicks or The Secret, right? And how do you make something so high vibrational and complex digestible for the masses? By penetrating the outer layers. So of course, these teachings had to be introduced from a more superficial level, because that's how it is. This is how things are introduced into the collective consciousness. They don't start off in their most deepest, profound complexities, but they start off superficial. So we start off with the core of the seed, then we penetrate the seed, and once we penetrate the seed, the flower can blossom. Right? It's like with the first automobile. We didn't start off with freaking space travel or aircrafts. We started off with the 3-wheel Mercedes-Benz that had wooden wheels in the late 1800s, right? This was the first introduction of the automobile. So that was the first layer of the seed. And everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, everyone in the 80s was like, yo, this is mind-blowing. Everyone who watched The Secret is like, yo, this is mind-blowing. Yes, it is, but it needs evolution. So then we penetrate and we research, we iterate, we infuse it with our consciousness. So this is why now, if we look at Tesla automobiles or the craziest Mercedes, we'd look back and be like, yo, yeah, it was great. It could run like 5 miles per hour, but that was shit, because now we have this. And this is the same with manifestation. What was crazy shit in the 80s and what was awesome when The Secret just came out is now, yeah, it's cute, but it's not working. So we have to penetrate the core so that the flower can blossom, so that the core can be penetrated with nutrients, and we have this beautiful orchid labia growing out of it, okay? That's the same thing that happens with manifestation. And like I mentioned in the beginning, one key for it is understanding the importance of your life force axis. This is why I created a masterclass called Internal Intelligence. This work of internal intelligence is the apex of inner work. It is multidimensional shamanic parts work, and it is a little complex. So I will try to decomplexify it and make it more simple, but this was the first time I ever taught this in a masterclass. So I'm still working on it and make it more accessible and make it more simple. But at the same time, I know I attract a certain kind of people and I attract a certain frequency of people. So I also know that you love to chew on certain concepts, and I know you like to be elevated in consciousness. So this masterclass is life-changing. I don't say that lightly. This is a way to reclaim fragments that hold your life force. If your life force is frozen in these fragments, which will make sense the moment you watch the masterclass, you do not have access to it, which means if your life force is fragmented and frozen in all of these parts and all of these fragments, how could you create? How could you manifest? How could you magnetize? It's not possible. So we first need to learn how to reintegrate these fragments. And that's what I will teach you in internal intelligence. It's deep, profound, multidimensional work. And it is also deliberate self-observation. It is a shortcut, but it's still going to take time. The system of internal intelligence is kind of like a pair of glasses you can wear. Once you put these glasses on, you're like, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Yes. You get the point, okay? So you put these glasses on and now you can see. And this is when the actual work begins. Like now you have a tool belt that allows you to navigate the next penetration of the veil and return your life force back to you. Please add any questions in the comment section. I love to communicate with you this way. Also, please like and subscribe so we can expand on this cosmic fam situation we have going on here. I love you. I'll probably see you next week.